Welcome everyone to today's webinar hosted by Caring.com. Today we'll be discussing how to adapt to the modern day drive-by. As we begin, I'd like to cover a few housekeeping items for today. This is a one-way webcast, meaning only the presenters from Caring will have video and audio throughout today's presentation. However, we'd still love to hear from you. At any point throughout the webinar, please submit your questions using the Q&A section within Zoom. Our team will be answering those questions live following the presentation. One of the most common questions that we receive is, will this webinar be recorded? And the answer is yes. We are recording today's webinar, and we plan to distribute out both the recording as well as the slides over the next couple of days. This free webinar is brought to you by Caring.com. Now, for those joining who may be less familiar, Caring.com is a leading online resource for senior living and senior care. Our organization was founded by caregivers for caregivers. Our flagship website, Caring.com, was created and launched in 2007 to equip family caregivers to make better decisions, save time and money, and feel less alone and less stressed in providing senior care to their loved ones. Today, we have a portfolio of websites and referral services that millions of people use to research senior care. These websites include senioradvice.com, assistedliving.org, and payingforseniorcare.com, just to name a few. And thousands of senior living communities and in-home care agencies partner with Caring to reach their target audience who is actively looking for care online. One of the many reasons that caregivers turn to Caring is for our high integrity reviews program. We have over 350,000 reviews, with over 50,000 of those added in 2021 alone. And we'll be talking today about how Caring's reviews program is a tool that you can leverage when it comes to boosting move-ins later in our presentation. First, I'd like to start with some introductions. My name is Olivia Duke. I am the Director of B2B Marketing here at Caring. My background is in performance marketing, where I've worked with companies that span from small family-owned local businesses all the way to Fortune 500 nationwide brands. And I'm serving as the moderator for today's discussion. More importantly, I am pleased to introduce our featured presenter today, Holly Reebok. Although she doesn't look it one bit, Holly has over 20 years of experience in community sales roles. She served as a CCRC sales director, a regional community sales and marketing director, and most currently, she leads our senior living sales team here at Caring. We are very excited to have her for today's presentation.
Thanks, Olivia.
Now, to walk you through the agenda for today, we are going to start off by level setting on what it means when we say modern day drive-by and how people research communities differently than they did in the past. Then we are going to walk through 3 key digital assets that you should be optimizing to meet these searchers on their journey. We'll discuss the importance of reviews, not only for generating interest in your community, but for converting those leads into move-ins. Finally, we'll talk about the offline experience and walk through sales processes that can help convert the online consumer. As I mentioned, we will use what time we have left at the end of the presentation to host a live Q&A and address any of the questions that have been submitted throughout the presentation. If we run out of time, we'll do our best to answer those over email as well. Now, to get things started, I'm going to hand it off to Holly to introduce the idea of the modern day drive-by. Over to you, Holly.
Thanks, Olivia. I appreciate it. And thank you everyone for joining today. So we're going to talk about what the modern day drive-by is and who is actually driving. So as Olivia mentioned, I was a community sales manager. I would get ready for my day by making sure the blinds were open, the lights were on, all of the flowers were watered in the front, and the community looked inviting because I knew seniors and their families would be driving past the community. I knew this because when I'd ask them, how'd you hear about us? They'd respond, we drove by. And it was all about curb appeal. It still is. Of course, you want to make sure your communities look amazing and have great curb appeal. But now the drive-by of the past happens well before they even get into their cars. So curb appeal starts from the comfort of their own homes, on their laptops, tablets, phones, and it all begins with one little search. That search can end with a new resident moving into your community. In the US, there are more than 15,500 searches per hour related to senior living care. That's up from 6,000 searches per hour just back in 2017. So a team of experts analyzed this data November of 2021. They included major senior care categories, but did not include terms like medical alerts, estate planning, or paying for care. So let's dig a little deeper into those searches. 30% are searching for themselves, 35% are searching for their parent, 10% are searching for their spouse, and 25% are searching for someone like a relative, friend, or neighbor. Those searching for a parent not only make up the largest segment at 35%, but they move in at a significantly higher rate, at 30% higher to be exact, and that's compared to the average. These searchers likely have a strong need for finding a home quick for their parent and are very pressed for time. They are looking for the right solution to fit their needs. So when it comes to searching online, consumers prefer aggregator sites. So for example, when you search for a hotel or airfare, somewhere to eat, media outlets, you're likely choosing an option that's provided to you from an aggregator site. The reason? Because consumers today prefer the most efficient way to find a solution for their needs. They go to one site and sort through all their options. Consumers are going to impartial third-party authorities for convenience and to save on time. So now that you understand the shift in the consumer mindset, how are your communities appearing in their search? The truth is, most searchers do not even know where to begin. Many that search for senior living options don't know where to start, so their search terms are very generic. As a matter of fact, 67% of people searching for senior housing use a very general term, such as assisted living or independent living. So given our authority and portfolio of top quality resources, we are positioned to help families in the beginning of their search. So for example, as you can see here, memory care near me was entered into the search bar. Very basic term. The results? Well, 4 out of the 6 top results are caring assets. It's the same result when you search for assisted living in Jacksonville, Florida. Your potential customer is viewing a caring asset 4 out of 6 times in both of these initial search scenarios. So let's take a look at the customer's journey as they begin their search for care for their loved ones. They enter a generic search, assisted living near me, into Google. As we touched upon in the previous slide, 4 out of the 6 results will lead them right to caring.com. At that point, they will speak with a family advisor. The family advisor will provide choices based on their needs and financial qualifications. Some families are fast to the race to find senior living options, but then they may slow down a little and research a little further online for themselves. They will search for the specific referred community and find your Google business profile. From there, they will end up on your senior living community's company website. Your key online assets that represent your business are your caring.com enhanced listing, your Google business profile, and of course, your own website. So the first step in excellent curb appeal for your company is to enhance your listing on caring.com. Provide a detailed summary of your amenities to showcase and feature the benefits of your community. Next, upload photos that will, professional photos that will help your community stand out compared to the non-enhanced communities on our site. Provide up-to-date pricing and incentives that will qualify potential residents before they're referred to your sales team. Finally, your enhanced listing will not have competitor ads on the page. So there are several guides available online from digital marketing agencies and from Google itself on how to create a new business profile or to claim an existing one. Google will have you go through a verification process to ensure you are indeed a business that's listed as the location. This is triggered by the searcher's location or a city in the keyword itself. When setting up your Google business profile, be sure to set these key terms: address, your phone number, your company website, very important, a business category, hours of operation, and include professional photos. Your website is very important when it comes to your online presence. Some must-have for your websites are a clear domain name, multiple ways for families to contact you, so email, phone, and texting if possible, professional photos to showcase your community, and provide any details on amenities, include incentives, and provide rates or a range if possible. And don't forget maintenance on your website and security to minimize any downtime. So you can see across these 3 online assets that we reviewed, there are also 3 best practices to point out. First, be consistent. Make sure your community name, contact information, and amenities are correct and consistent across the assets. Next, use professional photos. The use of a professional will give your audience a positive impression right from the start. Finally, include as much information as possible. Your online asset is a selling tool. So the more information that you can provide, the more you will stand out to your potential residents. Next, we're going to discuss your online reputation. Your online presence matters, and Karen can help. Let's talk about the importance of reviews. So it's been a misconception that adults 55 and older aren't paying close attention to reviews, when indeed they are. 71% read online reviews, 52% won't even use a business that has less than a 4-star rating. The average number of reviews they read, well, before they can trust you, they're going to read 7. And 8 in 10 trust online reviews as much as a personal recommendation. So I have a personal example to share. My dad is 75. He's online all the time. I'm his only daughter. And of course, he trusts me. But if I say, hey, Dad, let's go to dinner or let's go to lunch at a new place, what's the first thing he says? Well, look up their reviews, or what are they rated online? So even though he trusted his daughter, he wants to investigate that restaurant's online reputation. And that's a restaurant. Imagine when it comes to finding care for himself. Reviews boost move-ins. So let's look at the volume of move-ins compared to the number of reviews. You can see the increase from the left column to the right, that enhanced listings with 16 or more reviews increase the volume of move-ins by almost 8 times. That's huge, and that's not something to ignore. And this is just one study. We've done this with our entire portfolio as well as specific partners, and we see these same results consistently. And as you'll notice in this slide, Caring ratings span across the web. So they appear both in organic search and on the Google business profile. So how do Caring reviews compare to other resources? Well, 40% of senior care searchers trust us. Caring reviewers do not need to register for an account, and reviews can be submitted online, by email, and over the phone. Our reviews are processed by our expert review team, and we have US-based agents that will respond within 2 business days. So in summary, you can boost your reviews with Caring and represent your community in its best light. Your community may receive reviews even if you're not currently partnered with us. However, as a partner, we do offer tools to assist within the review process. Caring offers programs that allow you to easily request reviews from your customers, including a toll-free number, which is a lot easier for those that aren't tech savvy. You can manage your reputation by knowing immediately when a review is published, which will allow you to respond quickly. And Caring offers a program that allows your community, whether you're a partner or not, to get recognized for service excellence. Our Caring Stars Award rewards those who reach a high criteria bar for the number of average ratings and reviews, as well as your review response. So now that we touched on the modern day drive-by, enhancing your online presence, and managing your online reputation through reviews, let's talk about converting those online customers through your sales process. The first very important step is speed to lead. Reach out to your potential resident or their family as soon as possible. The longer the wait time, the lower the lead conversion, because if you're not reaching out, someone else is. And we know it's not feasible for your sales team to be available 24/7. So make sure your community has a backup plan in place for after hours or any days that your sales team is off. And this is really important. Use your voicemail and automated messages to help set customer expectations on your response time. Listening. So listen to your customer, find out their needs. This is very important because everyone is looking for a different set of solutions to their sets of needs. Ask questions that will allow them to feel comfortable enough to open up. Provide value by giving them a solution to match their needs. And be sure to make a connection on a very personal level. This is a very emotional decision for everyone involved. Move your customer through next steps by creating urgency in order to get that end result, which is to become a new resident. Schedule a tour to get them to your front door to show off your community, either in person or now virtually. And follow-up is key. Always schedule a follow-up call to ensure that you can answer any questions that they may have. And connect personally. For example, send an article that relates to their needs based on your previous conversations. Finally, schedule an assessment if appropriate to help determine their care level. And be intentional. Impress them with a connection. If you know Mrs. Smith loved your community's chocolate chip cookies, have a dozen delivered to her. If Mr. Smith loves to watch birds, send him a picture of the bird feeders in your courtyard so he can picture himself there. Never give up. 80% of sales come after the first 5 reach outs. And finally, CRM management plays a vital role in your sales process. Keep your sales pipeline up to date so you aren't missing out on any potential residents.
So we hope that the presentation today helps give you some, takeaways that you can take back to address that modern day drive-by and make sure that your digital assets are appearing where folks are searching, and then, adjusting your processes to fit the online consumer. That does conclude the content portion of our presentation today. And I have seen some questions start to come through, so please feel free to just go ahead and submit if you've been holding on to one. For anyone who joined a little bit later, first thing I will say is we do record these presentations and we will send out to all registrants after, in just the next couple of days, we'll be sending that out over email. Now, we did talk about reviews today. Since we touched on some of the benefits of our reviews program, we also have the director of our reviews program, Denise Grob, joining our panel to help answer any questions that you may have regarding reviews. So as I start to see some questions come in and have Denise joining us here.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, so the first question we have here is, how do we contact caring.com to update our profile information? Holly, would you like to take that?
Sure. So you would contact us to update if you are a partner already. You would go to partnersuccess@caring.com.
Yes, absolutely. So we have, we'll also be listing ways at the end of this presentation for over email and the phone number as well. And let's see. All right. Going to filter through, see which one. All right, this one is great for you, Holly, as well. they say, I'm not a partner, and I see that I already have a listing with Caring. What is the difference between that and partnering with Caring?
Great question. I could definitely help with that one. So what you have if you're not a partner is what we call a basic listing. So it'll have general information, but it'll also show some competitor ads on it. So when you're a partner, you'll be able to customize your listing. You'll be able to add professional photos, adding your pricing so you can receive the leads that you want to work with. You'll also receive pre-screened leads of becoming a partner with us. And then, of course, there's support tools to help you convert those online leads.
Great. And Holly, also for you, we have a question about kind of the lead handling. So what happens if Caring sends me a lead that we're already in touch with, from our website or somewhere else?
Yeah. So if a referral was already in your database, you can actually, once you receive that email, you can click on report duplicate, and you have 5 business days to report that to us.
And I think it's also important to kind of reflect back on what we presented on, and Caring shows in a lot of those generic searches. And so the portion of, referrals that actually are triggered as duplicate is a really small percentage that we end up finding. Of course, if you've already been in contact and it's a duplicate, mark it so. But the data we see just shows how incremental that partnership is. All right, we have some questions about reviews. So we have a slide dedicated to this, but Denise, can you explain a little more the differences between Caring.com reviews and Google, etc. reviews?
Sure. So what we showed was Google's reviews from the web module. And what that is Google recognizes authority sites that are hosting consumer reviews because they see the value of online reviews for consumer searching online. They've known this. We appear in that module 90% of the time that it shows because of how long we've been hosting a high integrity consumer reviews program. So those ratings show when someone does a business search by name, they show a reviews from the web module and we're in it. That is linking to the content on Caring.com. So people can click through to read those consumer reviews on Caring.com. There's a separate section that has reviews that are published specifically on Google. Neither site duplicates reviews. So you're not seeing those same Google reviews on Caring.com and you're not seeing the Caring.com reviews duplicated on Google. You're seeing a window to each option. And consumers, like Holly pointed out, are reading as many as possible, averaging 7. So they're reading them both on Caring and on Google. Hopefully that explains it for folks.
Absolutely. And Denise, we'll stick with you. We have a couple questions on a similar topic. So, someone asked, what is the best way to get people to write a review? And someone else asked, any suggestions on how to engage residents to leave reviews? What would you recommend there?
Oh my gosh, these folks must have read my mind because I just scheduled our June webinar that's going to go in depth on that very subject matter. We're going to cover practical strategies for how to ask, when to ask, who to ask. We even include specific scripting and emails. So I have covered this topic before. There's a lot of different ways. It's really going to depend if you're senior living or home care. Caring does a lot of the lifting for our partners on that, by the way. We'll ask those consumers for you. We do automatic outreach to all the referrals we make to our partner communities and agencies and ask for reviews on your behalf. So that's one of the features of the basic listing versus the partner listing that Holly was discussing. But it's also a way that it takes that onus off of you, and we do a lot of the review generation for you. You still need to ask your happy customers to share their feedback online. You need to build it into your culture. It's a culture of soliciting feedback and building social proof online. We cover strategies. We cover how some of our partners have done this in the past. I'm going to take you through all of that. We could have a whole webinar. We will have a whole webinar on that in June. I don't want to sidetrack the focus here today. I can also follow up with anyone with more detailed information via reviews@caring.com. caring.com, and we'll share that contact information momentarily as well. Thank you for that question.
Absolutely. All right. We have a good question on sales follow-up, Holly. So when we get a lead and we can't reach them, what's the process? How often should we be following up with that lead?
Sure. Well, I always told my teams at the very minimum, like every lead's a great lead. They reached out for a reason. So at the very minimum, 5 times, but even up to 8 times. Sometimes it takes 8 touches, phone calls, emails, text, handwritten notes. Be surprised. People still love handwritten notes. They reached out for a reason, and maybe they're still researching. Maybe they went on vacation or they're dealing with an additional care issue. So don't give up. But I would say, 5 to 8 times minimum.
And then on a similar note, what do you mean by intentional follow-up during the sales process?
Sure. So it's a very personal matter when you're looking for senior care for your loved one or even yourself. And so you want to make it as personal and intentional as possible. So let's say I call a community, or I'm calling from a community, and I say, "Hi, this is Holly from caring.com. I'm just checking in to see how your mom is. Have you made any decisions?" That's going to hit a little differently when you say, "Hi, this is Holly from caring.com. How's your mom doing after her knee surgery? Is there anything I can do? Could I send a nurse over to meet with her?" Being more personable, and then following up with something. Maybe you know that she likes crossword puzzles, so send her a thinking of you note, add in a crossword puzzle. Just being very intentional with your follow-ups. It's going to set you apart.
Great. And another sales process question. So you find voicemail and automation are good when setting expectations for response times. Don't people just go elsewhere?
Yes, they do, right? They're always going to go elsewhere if you don't pick up that phone. I wouldn't say that that would be the first thing you do. The most important would be having that backup team. They want to talk to a live person. So if your sales manager isn't there, who's going to be the next person that can talk to a potential resident? But on the voicemail, you can let them know, maybe we're out of the office, reach out and you can call so-and-so and provide another number. It's kind of the backup to the backup, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. These are great questions coming up. We have another one on, the frequency of reach outs. So how much time do you recommend letting pass between reaching out? Is it a day, 3 days, 1 week?
Well, that it depends. So if they first contact you, you're contacting them right away. It's like, let's call them right when we get that lead, if we can. After that, you call them 2 times, and maybe it's not calling. So first you call, and a lot of people don't like to pick up their phone. Then maybe a text if you know it's a cell phone, and an email. You could do that all in the same day, because if they don't respond to a call, they may respond to your email. And then you can base it, and I know different companies have different best practices, but wait another 2 days to give them another call. And then you start setting it out further. But in the beginning, you are going to want to reach out right away.
Great. We have some more sales process questions. So how much information do you recommend to give the front desk person who answers calls to give to that new inquiry or walk-in if the salesperson isn't available at that time?
Well, I have seen kind of both sides of this. You want to provide them with enough. If they walk in and they're there to tour, you want to make sure that someone could take them on a tour, show them a model, and not send them away. If they call, maybe you don't want the front desk to talk through pricing if they don't understand it completely. Now, I have worked with several front desk receptionists that are amazing, that have actually been promoted to sales. So it's dependent on the community, but as much information and training that you can provide to your receptionist, the better, because they're right there. They're on the front line.
Absolutely. All right, another for you, Holly. What is the best response to someone who is a quote unquote no-show for a tour?
Well, they wanted to come for a reason. So the best response is continued follow-up. And you know what? I don't know, some companies are doing things differently due to COVID, but you know, a lot of times when I couldn't get someone to come in, I would do a home visit to them. And so sometimes it just takes a little bit more. They're nervous. They're nervous to step foot in a community. So just kind of meeting them where they're at, really.
Absolutely. And I would add on to that something we see kind of differ across partners is, what are you doing before the tour? Are you calling to confirm, or sending some email to confirm, or something to, give them that reminder, especially if it's been some time since they initially scheduled.
Exactly. And to piggyback off of that, when you have someone that doesn't show up, a lot of times they're confused. Maybe they made a couple different appointments on the same day or within 2 days. So they do need that reminder 24 hours before, even the morning of. Hey, looking forward to seeing you at 3 o'clock today.
That's great. Well, it looks like that wraps up the questions that we have. There are a couple of questions that are related to how to get in touch, how to contact us. So I'm just going to touch on that in just a minute, or other very account specific questions that we'll be sure to follow up with over email. So just to recap what we discussed today. First thing is to optimize those 3 key digital assets to give your online presence more curb appeal for the modern day drive-by. Boost your reviews to not only generate more leads, but to help convert those leads at a higher rate. If you have any questions about the Caring Reviews program, whether you are a current partner or not, you can reach out to our reviews team, led by Denise here, who is gracious enough to join us on our panel. And you can email them at reviews@caring.com or contact them at the phone number listed here. Finally, make sure you are following the right offline sales processes to convert those online leads. For anyone who's interested in becoming a new partner, you can contact sales@caring.com. Or if you're an existing partner and you have any questions regarding your listing, you can email partnersuccess@caring.com or contact your dedicated account manager. Now, for anyone who's not a partner, but you saw some inaccuracies with your listing, reach out over those emails. We'll get in touch with you because, again, we're a site by caregivers for caregivers. We want to make sure that our website is as accurate as possible. So feel free to reach out for that as well. Thank you all so much for joining today. We welcome your feedback on today's presentation. And if there are any topics that you'd like us to dive into in the future, we'd love to hear it. There will be a survey that pops up as this webinar closes, where you can let us know, as well as by contacting the phone number and emails listed here. To stay on top of Caring's upcoming trainings, like Denise's upcoming reviews training, I encourage you to follow us on LinkedIn, as well as visit our industry website, partners.caring.com. With that, we will let you all get back to your commendable work of helping seniors, and we hope that you have a fantastic rest of your day.